Hello and welcome to Virtuosity. I'm Corey, co-founder of Virtuosity, and I'll be leading you through this introduction to Transcendence. Imagine a time before electricity, before lighters, before matches, when fire was not just useful, but sacred. In every community, there was one person whose job was unlike any other. They didn't hunt, they didn't build, they didn't lead the group forward. Their job was simple, but vital: to carry the flame. When the group moved, this person protected the ember in a shell or pot, shielding it from wind and rain. If the fire died, there would be no warmth, no light, no cooked food, no survival. This was the firekeeper. Their role wasn't about status, it was about continuity, keeping something alive that everyone else depended on, even if they forgot it was there. Today, each of us is called to be a kind of firekeeper, not of literal fire, but of something just as essential: inspiration, purpose, vision. In a world full of burnout and cynicism, transcendence is our ember. It's the thing we carry quietly that lights the way, for ourselves and maybe for others too. Consider the story of Viktor Frankl. Imprisoned in Nazi concentration camps, he lost nearly everything: his family, his career, his freedom. He was beaten, starved, and dehumanized daily. And yet, in the middle of that nightmare, he made a radical decision. He would not let his inner world be taken. Frankl began to observe how some prisoners deteriorated quickly, while others seemed to hold on to something invisible, something more powerful than physical strength. What made the difference? For Frankl, it was this: those who could find meaning, even in suffering, seemed to survive longer. Those who had a reason to live were more likely to hold on. He imagined himself giving lectures after the war, helping others understand the psychological experience of camp. He rehearsed these lectures in his mind while enduring forced labor. In the heart of suffering, he held onto a future self, a story still unfolding. He later wrote, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms: to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way." Frankl was, in essence, a firekeeper, not because he was optimistic in the conventional sense, but because he nurtured an ember of meaning. He refused to let the darkness define his identity or extinguish his hope. That's what transcendence looks like: not denial of suffering, but the ability to reach for meaning, creativity, and purpose despite it. A spark that lights the way forward, even in the worst of conditions. What do we really mean by transcendence? Transcendence is the capacity to rise above the immediate, to see beyond what is and imagine what could be. A person with transcendence draws inspiration from excellence, beauty, and the meaningful, whether in music, art, design, nature, or human potential. They see possibility where others see limitation. They take a long view, considering not just what's urgent, but what matters over time. They live with a sense of meaning and direction, anchored by purpose and lifted by imagination. According to the leader character framework, transcendence is expressed through 6 core behaviors: being appreciative, seeing and valuing excellence, beauty, and the small details others overlook; being creative, generating fresh ideas and new possibilities, thinking beyond convention; being future-oriented, keeping a long-term perspective and making decisions with tomorrow in mind; being inspired, allowing awe, excellence, and higher purpose to move you and guide your actions; being optimistic, believing in the potential for positive outcomes even in uncertainty; being purposive, acting with intention, clarity, and connection to a greater goal. Here, we make an important distinction. Little p purpose, being purposive, means bringing meaning and intention to everyday actions, while big P purpose reflects an overarching life mission. Cultivating little p purpose can help uncover and strengthen your big P purpose by paying attention to what matters most. Let's return to our fire analogy. Transcendence is like a flame we carry within us. When it's burning just right, It warms and lights the space around us. It helps us see beyond what is toward what could be. It sparks imagination, fuels purpose, and lights the way forward, especially in darkness. But like any fire, it must be tended. Left unattended, it dims. Push it too far, and it burns too hot. When the fire burns too low, it barely gives off light. That's the deficiency side of transcendence. We become unthankful, unimaginative, short-sighted, uninspired. We lose connection to what's possible. We stop seeing beauty. We stop creating. We stop dreaming. Life becomes flat, like we're going through the motions with no greater vision pulling us forward. And when that spark fades, we don't just lose energy, we lose direction. Without a sense of purpose or possibility, people drift, teams stagnate, organizations lose soul. And sometimes, to strengthen transcendence, we need support from other dimensions of character. It can take temperance, the patience to slow down and be fully present, to be appreciative. It can take collaboration and openness to others' perspectives, to feel genuinely inspired. It takes integrity, a grounding in personal values to live with purpose. It takes drive, a hunger for excellence and forward motion to fuel optimism. It takes humility, a willingness to reflect and explore the unknown to unlock creativity. And it often takes courage, the bravery to imagine bold possibilities for us to envision the future. But transcendence out of balance can swing the other way too. When the fire burns too hot, it can overwhelm. People become untethered, overstimulated, delusional. They get so lost in what could be that they forget what is. They live in the clouds and miss what's right in front of them. Purpose becomes obsession, optimism turns blind, inspiration stops being contagious and starts creating distance. An excess of transcendence can manifest as what people refer to as toxic positivity, an overemphasis on optimism that dismisses or minimizes real challenges, discourages acknowledging pain, and pressures others to stay positive even when it's unhelpful or harmful. Like a fire without a hearth, transcendence without grounding can consume rather than comfort. That's why transcendence, like all dimensions of character, needs support. It takes temperance to regulate the flame, to keep us steady, present, and composed. It takes humility to acknowledge when our ideas or visions need to evolve, or when awe turns into ego. And it takes collaboration and humanity to ensure the light we carry draws others in, rather than leaving them out in the dark. Transcendence, at its best, is a fire worth gathering around, a renewable source of warmth, energy, and direction, but only if we tend to it wisely. So now, take a moment to turn inward. What does it feel like when you're fully living these virtues of transcendence? When you are appreciative, creative, future-oriented, inspired, optimistic, and purposive, how do you show up in the world? How do others experience you when you're in that state? And how do you experience yourself? Of course, we all miss the mark sometimes. When that happens, when you lose touch with these strengths, what direction do you tend to go? Do you slip toward deficiency, where the spark dims and things feel flat, uninspired, short-sighted? Or do you veer toward excess, where the flame burns too hot and you become untethered, overstimulated, even a bit lost in the clouds? And when you slip, what does it actually look like in your behavior? What's the ripple effect on others? And how does it affect your relationship with yourself? Are there patterns? Are there certain roles, environments, or stressors that tend to nudge you off balance, pulling you away from that vital center of grounded inspiration? For me, I've worked hard over the years to cultivate meaning in my life, especially through my work. I found a career that genuinely fuels me. Most mornings, I wake up eager to get started. I believe deeply in the work of building character, and I feel lucky to be contributing to something I believe can make a real difference. That sense of purpose is powerful. It's my flame. And yet, I've noticed something. Sometimes, outside of work, whether I'm with family, friends, or enjoying a hobby, I feel a little lost. Not unhappy, but unanchored. Like my sense of direction softens. The same intensity of meaning isn't always there, and without it, I can feel adrift, uninspired. Like I've built so much of my identity around purpose and work, I've left less room for transcendence in the rest of my life. So I'm trying to grow those muscles elsewhere too, to find beauty, creativity, and inspiration in the everyday, to let relationships, play, and rest be part of the fire, not just performance or contribution. Because transcendence isn't just about chasing purpose, it's about letting ourselves be lit up by life in all its forms. One of my favorite parts about exercising transcendence is its power to create possibility, to bring an and. In times when I feel there are opposing ideas or I'm forced to choose one path over another, transcendence is what helps me ask, what's the and possibility here? It's the spark that turns limits into openings and reveals paths I couldn't see before. A person who inspires me to do this the most is my mom, and the other co-founder of Virtuosity, Mary Crossan. In the everyday, I see her constantly looking for the and, a muscle she never stops exercising. Is there someone in your life whose example inspires you to stretch your transcendence? So, as you reflect, ask yourself, where does your flame burn brightest, and where does it flicker? What might it look like to carry that fire, not just in one domain, but across the whole of who you are? Transcendence is a steady flame, kept alive through small, daily acts of imagination, appreciation, creativity, and purpose. Every time you pause to appreciate beauty, every time you choose hope over cynicism, every time you imagine a better future and take one step toward it, you're tending to that fire. And just like a fire, it can fade if neglected, or burn too hot if unchecked. That's why transcendence requires care, awareness, and support from other dimensions of character to keep it alive. But reflection alone isn't enough. Transcendence doesn't sustain itself. It needs practice, reps, intention. Because the little things that fuel our spark, they're powerful, but easy to overlook, easy to skip. That's why we built Virtuosity, a system to help you build transcendence into your daily life. It's your character gym, guiding you through bite-sized weekly lessons and daily challenges to strengthen your appreciation, imagination, and sense of purpose. Start today, pick one Transcendence behavior in the Virtuosity app, and begin your personalized training. Because when the pressure hits or the boredom dulls, you'll want that flame burning strong. Get started today, one spark at a time.